Greetings and welcome to Second Breakfast, the second most important meal of the day. I'm Sean.
And I'm Jason. Sean, what are we having for second breakfast today, dude?
Well, it's a little bit of a special second breakfast because we are currently live on twitch.tv/Super SpikeGhetti Bros. We just got finished watching the first episode of Lord of the Rings of Power, which just came out on Amazon Prime an hour and a half ago. We just watched the first episode with chat.
It was awesome.
So if this episode is a little bit weird because we've also got chat going, the great people in chat we might, be talking to a little bit.
Yeah, if we're talking to some disembodied person, yeah, it's just chat.
Yeah, and we'll
Shout
definitely...
out to the chat.
Shout out to the chat. We'll definitely read what they said as well before, so you have context. Oh yeah, I have notes on kind of the basic how the episode went in terms of storylines. But I just want to hear from you because we've been anticipating this so heavily for it feels like a while now.
I like it. I'm kind of struggling right now with, and I typically don't have this issue. I'm struggling with not dissecting everything because I'm like, I already know the story, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm like, oh, is this that? Is this? And we've been theorizing about what this is supposed to be. Yeah, I'm loving it. Obviously, the visuals are freaking stunning. Really, the only thing with this episode where I kind of wasn't vibing, there's a scene with Galadriel and Elrond where she's like, "You don't know what I've seen," type deal.
Yeah.
Because it's in the book, it's just not a thing. But I'm fine with them making her kind of like a warrior. But I haven't seen her see anything. You know what I mean? I get that the context is that she's been going into the darkest and deepest places for the last several hundred years, and hasn't really found anything, right? I can understand that's what they're setting up, but I haven't really seen it myself, right? I've seen that she went to the aftermath of basically destruction of Beleriand,
which was the stuff with Finrod where we saw that battle scene, which we'll dive a little bit further in to all the different storylines in a minute, but yeah.
Yeah, they change how he got captured. Canonically, he gets captured because he's helping Baron, of Baron and Luthien, to steal a Silmaril. They get captured by Sauron, and then he kills a massive wolf with his bare hands. Just beats it with his bare hands, but then bleeds out, right? So it makes sense that he has the mark of Sauron and stuff. They kind of make it seem more like he gets captured, and then they don't really show anything because they at the beginning of the episode they do a lot of flashback stuff.
Yeah. And I think we'll start with that. I already have kind of an outline of how we'll cover things in my head.
Overall, I'm liking I'm liking it. The thing I was saying earlier, I'm kind of struggling with just trying to stay immersed in it rather than going into be oh, is this that? Is that this?
Yeah.
I'm trying to just enjoy it. You know what I mean?
100%.
That's what I'm kind of struggling with. I think maybe part of it is streaming it as well because I'm in streamer brain.
A little bit, yeah.
But yeah, I'm enjoying it for sure. Yeah, the final scene felt a little long. Not the final scene, but the final scene with Galadriel, it felt a little long.
Yeah.
But that's just more of a nitpick than anything. Overall, really liking it. I like the Harfoots, and I like that they can be used as a tool to make it so it's not all doom and gloom always.
Yeah.
But even with them, there's that hint that there's yo, there's shit wrong here in this in Rovanian as well. So I like it.
Yeah, I don't know if this is gonna be controversial online. I'm gonna say this for me as a non-book reader, just going into this, I know that this is an epic fantasy story, and I'm going into an epic fantasy story. That's what I know. And I know the movies. 10 out of 10. I think that might have been one of the best pilots I've ever seen.
It was really good.
I loved all of the plot lines. I loved all of the actors. I loved all of the visuals. I loved the music.
The music is really good.
Yeah. I think the scene on the boat was paced a little weird for sure.
Yeah.
But just overall, I feel I don't know. For me, that might have been one of the best pilots I've ever seen. I really, really loved that.
Yeah. And I love that immediately with the music, because I know with the trailers, there was the one trailer where the music kind of just seemed very flat. Like it was just like, this is fantasy music or whatever,
Yeah.
right? I love the deep men's choir that they
Yeah.
keep using whenever there's like some shady shit happening. It looks so good. Yeah, there's a lot of good moments in this. I think that it has a lot to do to set up so much stuff, and like there's multiple other places that need to be set up
We didn't
in
even
the
get
well, I'm
to the
assuming is the next
dwarves.
episode. We haven't touched the dwarves. We haven't even seen a Numenorian.
Oh yeah, that's
Like
true. We didn't go to Numenor at
we haven't
all.
seen a Numenorian.
I do want to point out from chat really quick, Fabio the Iguana giving us the seal of approval saying Bear McCreary killing it on the score.
Hell
Woo.
yeah.
And hopefully we're gonna have Fabio on way later at the end of the season to break down the music for us, because Fabio's
Dude,
our like
yes.
music correspondent.
The
So
man.
the man
music
for
man.
music. So but right off the bat, first episode, it seems like we've got a
Exactly.
pretty good seal of approval on that. So kind of how I want to break this episode down is I want to talk about the flashback, the first age flashback at the beginning.
Mhm.
Then I want to talk about each of the storylines. So we'll talk about like I guess really the three storylines are like the elves, the Harfoots, and the Arondir and the kind of northern humans. And then we'll talk about that final scene with the meteor and everything, because that's
Okay.
But
Yeah.
I think that's a good way to kind of break it
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
Where we're not just going in chronological order, but we're still keeping a focus. So
yeah.
holy shit, those first age flashbacks.
Yeah, it looked nuts. The beginning. I'm excited to rewatch this stuff.
Yeah, me
because
too.
that's the Lord of the Rings thing for me, right? It's like
Yeah.
rewatching it a million times over, right? And this is like gonna be the most content just over time, like as the seasons come out. It's gonna be
Yeah.
the most amount of Lord of the Rings stuff you can just sit down and watch. So that's gonna be super sick. But yeah, it looked so good. I cannot wait to see more like the bad guys, dude.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
the rawness of just seeing an eagle just die
dude.
immediately was so raw.
Oh, what was that killed that? Was it like a dragon or a fell beast or whatever? Like fucking.
It kind of looked more like a fell beast, but yeah, there's dragons and there's hella dragons in the War of
Yeah.
Wrath.
Yeah.
One of the most used pictures I've ever seen in when people are talking about dragons just in random YouTube videos
Mhm.
is a depiction of Ancalagon the Black, who's the biggest dragon in like all of fantasy. This dude is like the size of a mountain,
Okay.
literally.
Okay.
And like he's in the War of Wrath and stuff. Honestly, if they would have showed some Ancalagon, dude, like every Tolkien nerd would be like, what? But it was still super cool. I love how the orcs look, even just a little bit of the orcs. And seeing the elves being overwhelmed was so awesome.
With Finrod.
Yeah. The scene with Finrod. Honestly, I remember like lots of people talking about, oh, the elves don't look like elves, and I honestly don't like the short hair either.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say, like in the scene where they're like fighting and stuff, it's like very clear that they're elves. You know, like between their armor and just like they're clearly like fighting orcs. There's not really a blend. I think what would happen, the issue might happen where if you have a man and an elf fighting side by side, there could be a little bit of ambiguity. But at the same time, a lot of the like Rohirrim characters in like the Two Towers, where you have the elves and men fighting side by side, you can clearly tell. So it just depends on how they do the armor, if it's looking clean. But yeah, man, there was a lot of cool shots with the orcs.
Yeah, really quick, Egg was asking in chat, where was the orc? That scene from the beginning where we're flashing back, that was and all those elves were fighting, they were fighting orcs, and it was a short fight sequence, but a really cool fight sequence. What you point, the short hair thing is interesting, because that was something that I never really was super worried about, but like I understood why it could, like when you're seeing humans and elves fight side by side, it could get confusing. But what I think this episode did really well was make the elves look like elves, even though they have the short hair. All the elves have this ethereal beauty to them. Like every elf in this fucking show is gorgeous.
Mhm.
Even Finrod, when he's fucking fighting those orcs there, his face, like he's got some dirt on it, but he still looks like incredible. And then you see the fucking humans, right?
Yeah.
They're like
Yeah.
all dirty and they're like,
They're
I think
next level dirty.
yeah, like their hair is all fucked up and shit, you know, like, and I think
and
that's gonna be,
the Harfoots are dirty as
dude.
hell.
I think they do such a good job. Like when I'm watching the elves, like even though they don't look like the elves from Lord of the Rings in terms of the hair department, I immediately was like, those are fucking elves because their jawlines are like perfect. Like they're
Yeah.
fucking.
I
And
think
I
they
think it's a lot.
chose really good actors for like their facial structure for sure.
Yeah, that, and I think also the actors are just doing an incredible job of carrying themselves in a way that seems more than human. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, and what I'll also say, yeah, there's definitely like an elegance where you need to walk very like upright and have your back kind of like you have a pull up your ass. You know what I mean? Like you have to kind of more float. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Whereas like there's a lot of like physical, just like body, like your
Yeah.
stature, right?
And I think they nail it.
I think the only elf that I've seen their character design that I don't like is actually Celebrimbor.
You didn't? I kind of liked him. I thought
think
he looked a little cool.
I don't like that he looks like just like an old man, kind of like elves aren't supposed to age, and
That's true.
I think they just I'm fine with, because he is an old elf, right?
Yeah.
Like I get that, but like at the same time, it kind of just breaks it a bit for me. And whenever I think of Celebrimbor, like I just think of basically Elrond, right? But he looks like even more of like I'm better than you type deal, right? Because he is like the best elven smith that's not like Feanor, right? So like I don't know. I feel like if they had cast the actor like 10 years younger, maybe I'd be good. But I just feel like right now that's how I'm feeling, right? Like first impressions, I'm not really liking how he looks. Obviously, if he we haven't seen him say a word, right? So I'm definitely gonna give him his time. If in a couple episodes I'm still not digging Celebrimbor, then I'm gonna be like, damn. I'm hoping it's good. I'm hoping how he acts is just like I'm better than everybody. But then at the same time, as a viewer, you're like, damn, he kind of is better than everybody. You know, like if I don't believe that he's better than everybody, we'll see, dude.
Yeah. So we're talking about the elves. Let's get into the elf stuff. The kind of main character of the elf storyline right now is definitely Galadriel. We get, I mean, oh God, I'm trying to think. I was gonna say this might be my favorite sequence in the whole episode, but like I really enjoyed a lot about this episode. That scene in the snow, dude. Holy fuck.
Like the fighting scene?
The fighting scene. Like the lead up to
Yeah.
it was nice. It built some good tension, but then when the snow troll comes out and the moment, like I literally, my jaw dropped like while I was watching. When
his dropped because it got unhinged with the sword.
When that one dude drops his sword and she runs up the side of it and then does like a flip through the air and fucks up that troll, dude, literally jaw hanging open the entire time. It was incredible. Possibly like, I mean, already an iconic fight scene in episode 1.
Yeah.
For me.
My favorite part of that scene, the fighting scene, is super cool, and I was a little worried of how the VFX would look, because like we've seen all these crazy landscapes and they look so beautiful. I was a little worried, okay, how is the VFX gonna look when it's like a big like troll or a monster, something like that, right? But no, they nailed it with it. It looked so good. You believed the weight of it. I liked how he kind of had small arms. You know, like, he kind of looked like he's just like a little, like he's not little, but like how he moved, I liked it. And they kept it was like really sneaky, even though it's huge.
And they kept it in shadows a lot too to kind of hide the VFX. I think a little bit, and I think that worked pretty well.
Yeah. But my favorite part of that scene is actually the orc that was like melted into the wall.
That was sick.
Because it looked like that. It looked like that bitch was alive. Like I thought it was gonna come alive, like and jump scare you. You know, like jump at the camera.
That shit was cool.
Yeah. Well, especially because the other elf, I don't care to really think of what his name is
Yeah, I
because
don't remember
clearly
it.
he's not going to be in the show anymore because he's in
No.
Valinor. But I think it's like I think it was like Thindon or something. He's like in the middle of saying like that mark looks like it's hundreds of years old, right?
Yeah.
I was expecting to contradict it. The orc is like, "Brr," like it like comes
Yeah,
back
yeah,
to
yeah.
life where it's like, oh no, this must have happened recently, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I thought that might have happened, but it looked so good, and it looked like it. I don't know. I'm kind of torn of whether it's a practical effect or a visual effect. Like I don't know.
The statue, like, oh, I definitely think that was a prop. I think they fucking did a statue.
Like the orc in the wall. Yeah,
I think
dude,
I think that's a carved. Like, I think they made that.
It looked so good.
It looked incredible. Yeah, no, I definitely think that's practical. I think that's a prop.
Do you think it's like an actual person? They're just like, yo, stand here the whole time.
I want to believe so. I think it's
Where's
more
the
likely
behind the
it's like-
scenes? It's like, hey, my name's Harold. I'm the orc in the wall.
I think it's a little more likely that it's probably like some fucking styrofoam or something that has been very, very well carved up. Maybe it's like something, I don't know. Maybe some actual fucking stoneworking. Who knows? But
Yeah.
I really like what we set up with Galadriel. I'm gonna say her name like that every time because it's fucking fun.
Galadriel.
I love these names. These names are so ridiculous. I love
Yeah.
it. I like this idea of her kind of being obsessed with vengeance against Sauron for the death of her brother. And we kind of see like she's not in a great place at the start of this show. I mean, she's probably in.
She seems like she's on the brink.
Yeah, like in terms of all the characters, like, mentally, she seems like she's definitely doing the worst.
Yeah, dude. Like she looks like, even just talking about like the impending doom, like she's like kind of shaking, right?
Yeah.
Um
And I just want to say, I'm in love. That's the love of my life, dude.
That is the love of my life, for real.
I'm gonna be real. Like, watching Lord of the Rings, the movies, like, I know that Galadriel is supposed to be like, is described as being like one of the most beautiful people in the world or whatever, and like her beauty is supposed.
Yeah,
to,
she's
like,
supposed to be like the most fair. Like,
I've never been like that into her in the movies. I just never found her super attractive. In this show, I get it. I'm like, yeah,
Kate Blanchett.
I know. I think Kate Blanchett is attractive. Just in that role, I never was
way,
like, I was never like, damn,
Okay, I get that. I get that. That's fair.
in that role.
That's fair, dude.
She is a god. She is a god. Like Hela, when she's Hela, dude. Eggadog brought up Hela.
True.
When she's Hela, fucking damn. Just as Galadriel,
It just didn't hit for you, huh?
It didn't hit. But
That's the wrong take, but that's fine,
Dude.
dude. Everyone's gonna be booing you in the comments. That's that's enough for me.
I'm not gonna lie. Like, I was getting distracted during the scene when she's talking to Elrond. I was like, gotta read the subtitles. But I think very well cast. Love of my life. I'm just channeling Jason right now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be down bad for Galadriel for the rest of this show. I love when her fucking crew abandons her. I love when they're like, we're fucking done.
Well,
with
obviously,
this.
well, yeah, they don't like abandon her, but they're like, yo,
No.
if you go any further, we're
fucking
ditching
done.
you,
Yeah.
right? Like they all come back together.
Yeah.
I thought they were all gonna die. That's the main
Me
thing I was
too.
surprised by. It's like, oh, did none of them die? Okay,
Damn,
cool.
okay.
Like,
Which
Elf
I
A
think,
didn't die. That's
I think-
nice.
I think it helps keep the stakes kind of low, and it keeps us in a point of like, they still don't kind of know if bad shit's gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, and I also like for example, in other shows where you're watching like The Walking Dead or something, you
Yeah.
meet some new character and you're like, this dude is either gonna die immediately or in some horrific way later.
yeah.
So you're like, I like that it did subvert my expectation of, okay, they're all dead. Maybe Galadriel, and then the one other dude who had voice lines will live. Everyone
Yeah.
else is dead.
What did you think of the introduction to Elrond, or just what did you think of Elrond in general?
I liked Elrond. I like that he clearly. I like that they set up them as good friends.
I think they have
Galadriel and
great
Elrond.
chemistry immediately.
Yeah.
Like to the point where
Yeah.
we're watching, and I was like, "Are they supposed to have a thing?" It's like just immediately. It was very
Yeah.
well done. They're
Yeah,
both
no,
very good.
it's well done. Yeah, the actors have a great chemistry. I like that he seems both. I like that in doing what the right thing is, he's still a good friend, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
he is doing the right thing as far as his duty, and then he's also being a good friend to her. Like, hey, like I will be upfront with you. I'll be blunt with you.
Mhm.
You're pissing off the king.
Yeah.
Like if you did this again, it's not going to be good.
Yeah.
And then also, being like, "Hey, like yeah, you have a lot of issues, but that's okay. You're my friend. Like
Yeah.
you you're going to go back home. Like it'll be great." you know?
Yeah, that scene you're talking about is another moment just incredible where he's talking about how I wish like I kind of don't even want to watch the next episode. I kind of just want to watch this one again cuz I want to I want to pull quotes from it. But he's talking about how Valinor will like fix what's broken inside of her when she's
Yeah.
talking about like what she's seen and like how she can't like oh god that conversation between the two of them in like the tree, the foresty area where she's just saying
Mhm.
like I can't go to this super peaceful place because I'm haunted by the sounds of wars. And he's like, but it will fix what's broken in you. I loved that scene.
Yeah. I like that, especially in that scene too. He's not just like blowing her off, right? Like
No,
it's
not at
not just
all.
like,
You can tell
oh,
he
you
cares for
don't know
her.
what you're talking about. Like,
Mhm.
yeah, it's clear that they actually have like a real friendship, and I like the writing of it. Um, yeah, it's well
And
done. The only thing in that scene I don't really like is that she's like, she seems like she's on the brink, right?
yeah, yeah.
And is like saying this stuff, and I don't believe it yet, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
That she is like this completely broken character. I want to see her in more like action and stuff like that before I'm like, okay, yeah, I get it now. I think upon rewatching the series or whatever, upon rewatching the season, I- I'll like that scene more.
Mhm.
Or like
And,
that specific part of the scene, I
yeah,
should
that
say.
specific part. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
and I really liked as well that we get a little bit of Elrond the politician as well, though, because he
Yep.
doesn't entirely tell her the truth. Like, he tells her enough of the truth to the point where he thinks she's gonna do what's best for her. But like, then we see the conversation between him and Gil-galad, where he's like, he seems to believe more that this threat is still out there than he lets on to Galadriel
Yeah.
because he doesn't want to spook her. He doesn't want to
Well,
fuel what he sees as like bad tendencies.
yeah, yeah. Well, and she definitely seems like a crack addict,
Yeah.
right? Like she's like sitting there shaking just talking about it,
Yeah, yeah.
And the idea is that she hasn't seen an actual baddie for like hundreds of
Yeah,
years,
yeah.
like and that's true. And that's something that I feel like gets lost in the text a lot. That I like
Mm,
that they're hammering home, especially in the beginning, right? Where they're
yeah.
talking where it's like the Galadriel voiceover. It's very reminiscent of Peter Jackson's Fellowship of the Ring at the beginning, where like she's narrating and everything. And I liked immediately. That was something that in the intro grabbed me immediately. Was that she's like, it's been hundreds and hundreds of years before we've like even seen an orc, right?
Mhm.
And over the hundreds of years, that the pain and sorrow, eventually it fades, right? And that's
Mhm.
like very real, right? Anybody who's like had grief and over the years, like yeah, you don't like completely get over something like incredibly grieving, but over the times like you're going to get over it. You're going to get stronger. You're going to get better at it, right? And
Mhm.
that makes it put more into perspective that it's like it has literally been hundreds of years since these people died, like and they're elves like living
Yeah,
in
yeah.
in Linden and stuff. Like it's like the
Yeah.
most beautiful places. Um it would make sense for them to they're not even like assuming either. Even the fact that they're having I like that it makes the characters seem much smarter than I feel like would typically happen. Like you're having Galadriel and her army searching everywhere for literal hundreds of years, trying to find any source. And it's because she's kind of like woo woo woo, woo. Like she has issues, right? But
Yeah.
like the fact that Gil-galad himself is like, I think that we need to be watchful, right? I like that. It gives both her and Gil-galad and Elrond, it makes them, okay, yeah, they're not just pompous, like,
No.
oh, there's no more evil. You know what I mean? Even though in some of their actions, like drawing back everybody, it definitely is like, okay, well, do you believe that the shadow's gone or not? But I guess he would, at least in a political sense, oh yeah, like the war is done, then pull everybody back, you know? Like people would be like, well, if the war is done, why aren't you pulling everybody back, right?
Exactly.
So I like that the logic makes sense as a viewer for why they're doing what they're doing, right?
There's another quote that I want to grab it. But Gil-galad says it where he's talking about why they sent Galadriel back, even though they believe that there is a threat, that there's probably a threat. And he's saying like, you know, a wind can fan out a flame, but sometimes it can just make it burn brighter or whatever. And I think that like you see that in his decision to pull back. And I'm almost ready to move over to this other storyline, but like, for now, obviously, we're talking about the ending at the end. But in his decision to pull back Arondir and his people from Rovanian area, Rovanian, is that what it was called?
Rovanian, yeah.
Because like that's another idea of, like you were saying, you're keeping all these soldiers around. Okay, well, you guys say that this threat's passed, but yet you're keeping these soldiers around with us. Like what?
Right.
Like that could end up instead of
even the humans are having that.
Yeah. Instead of
sentiment.
like, instead of being there to like stop the humans from going down this path again, it could instead encourage them down that path further. And I kind of think we can. I don't know. I'm kind of
literally you see it. Yeah. Like he's not just like that. That's something that I like. I love that you pointed that out, right? Because when I first think of it, right, like, oh, obviously as a viewer, you know, some shit's gonna go down, or else what is the show about?
Yeah.
But like, even in what he's saying, you're like, okay, what is this like riddle he's saying, right? Like, how is she going to incite that this happens, right? But I like that it's more like just in general, right? That's how he's thinking about it. Like, you know, by having the elves there, it's like provoking the men. You see it in the episode.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I would say I made my first mistake. I was looking back at my notes. It wasn't Rovanian. It was the Southlands. Rovanian is where the Harfoots are.
That's what I thought, but I thought maybe you had like written notes down and that I misremembered. I didn't take notes actually, which is something I'll do in like future episodes. These first two episodes are going to be a bit different, I feel like. Well, we're not going to record the second episode immediately, but I do like that, like when we do it later, because we're not going to stream all these episodes.
No.
Because they come out at like midnight and shit.
Yeah.
But I do like that we'll be able to kind of like have some time, maybe even like rewatch episode if there's like some craziness that happens. You know, parts of episodes have some stuff written down, but...
So I am ready to shift into the stuff with Arondir and the Southlands, if you're okay to leave the elves behind for a bit until we talk about the ending.
Yeah.
Loved this. So if the elf stuff to me is like a really, really great character building between Elrond and Galadriel, I think the stuff in the Southlands is incredible world building in that I feel like I learned so much about the Southlands without getting an exposition dump dropped on me. Like we learn over the course of the episode, like the idea is that in the Southlands, the humans sided with Morgoth during the war, and now there's this like garrison of elves that are there to kind of be like, you know, it's kind of a post World War II thing almost, you know?
Yeah, kind of.
And there's obviously these tensions here, and the elves seem to think that like these humans are closer to you know, falling down that slope towards Morgoth or to Sauron again, which obviously we know that the Southlands are where Mordor is. So
yeah.
I guess I
guess it's something we should more explain, right? So like when they were showing the map, like they have a lot. That was something that we didn't say. Just like kind of overall, all the shots with the maps transitions is so cool. But yeah, when it transitions, like you can see the Southlands are literally like where Mordor is, right? Like, and I guess it's a kind of spoilers in a way, right? Like, how does it go from being in the Second Age, this like place where humans live, to Mordor that you see? Like, eventually it's gonna change, right?
I
So
feel like it's already starting in this episode. I mean,
yeah,
some
exactly.
freaky shit happens
Dude,
there.
the cow.
The cow freaked the fuck out of me.
Oh my god,
That was actually disgusting.
I remember just seeing like, what is wrong with the cow, right? Like,
Yeah,
you're, like,
yeah.
seeing. I guess I don't. What was weird is, how does the guy know that there's something wrong with the cow? And then he's
I
like,
think it's
wait,
because
what?
there's all those
What?
fucking flies around it, like it's a fucking carcass already. Like,
Yeah, dude. It's
like,
it's
that's what I
dying
noticed.
from the inside.
yeah, like I noticed all the fucking flies around it, and I was like, that shit's not right. Like, what the
Yeah.
fuck is wrong with this thing, you know? And then the fucking like black liquid. Oh, it was so gross.
Yeah.
I again, but like little, like Egg mentioned this in chat earlier. Like the evil shit isn't just like slapping you in the face. It's like little baby steps of it until we get to like some freaky shit at the end.
Yeah.
But I really liked I really liked Arondir. We really didn't get a lot of
Yeah.
him. I liked the vibes. I liked his buddy who was hanging around with him. I thought he was kind of funny.
Like, something started with an M.
Yeah.
I don't know if we'll see him again. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. But I feel already very invested in Arondir and Bronwyn's relationship. I think they also had great chemistry.
Yeah, yeah.
Bronwyn is the human, for anybody that is not remembering all these names or is not writing them down like I am, at least the important names.
Yeah, it's been a first episode maybe too.
Yeah, yeah.
Or maybe you're listening to it later.
Yeah, Bronwyn is the human like healer in the Southlands. That apparently Egg of Dog in chat is in love with. Yes,
dude, she
yeah,
she might be the love of my life, dude.
Yeah, no, you know what? She was also very attractive.
Dude, it was straight like Belle from Beauty and the Beast,
wasn't
vibes,
it? I was
dude.
thinking about.
Like,
I felt like the outfit.
She
was
had the
even
blue
similar.
on and everything too, dude.
Mm-hmm.
She had like the blue and white. I was like, this is literally Belle, dude. Yeah, I love their chemistry. 100% believable. I was so incredibly like eyebrow raised, like the Rock meme, like when they said that there was gonna be an elf and human relationship. I was like, really, dude?
Yeah.
But I immediately am kind of over that, right? Like, I like that Arondir. They're completely new characters, right?
Yeah.
It's not like they're changing other characters. I love Arondir. He's so like he seems very like cold and calculating. But then when he talks to her, like the juxtaposition of talking to her
in his voice,
he seems exactly. How he holds himself, instead of turning like cold, and it seems like he's just very passionate.
It feels like he's holding himself back when he's around her.
Exactly.
Like, yeah, I thought, oh, dude, he was really good, especially just non-verbally communicating this like very deep. I mean, love. It feels like I'm very curious as to what's going on with that kid, because they mentioned that he doesn't like. I mentioned
that's his
like
mother, and his father is gone. Yeah,
which I feel like, because you said there's no way that's Arondir's kid. But
there's no way that they made like a half elf. Like,
the only thing that I'm with you on that, but I feel like the dad is important in some way because of how they brought him up. Like, they kind of talked about him a bit in that barn scene where they're like, you don't even know.
I think his dad's evil.
To your dad. Oh, you think his dad is like one of the evil cultist people?
Yeah, I think his dad's evil. I think that's kind of what they're setting up. That's what I would guess, right?
The fucking Morgul blade, right? You want to talk about that? You want to fill us in a little bit?
So, well, and the fact that we've seen it, like, I don't know if it was like a switch up in the trailer, right? Like they're trying to fool us, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it seems like he has a high affinity to evil, you know, like He finds it somehow. It's probably calling out to him type thing, but and then he finds it, and then like the eye like glows and stuff, and then in the trailer we see the sword like actually manifest, right?
Yeah.
And then the fact that in the other parts of the trailer we see that the barkeep type dude is like, "Have you ever heard of Sauron?" And he's like, "Oh." And it looked like he had a mark on him, which actually, now that I'm thinking about it, was that the eye?
It might have been. I couldn't tell.
I wonder
I
if the
want to look
sword
at it
like
now.
brands him or something,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
that would be crazy. But cuz I remember I went by frame with the trailer,
Uh-huh.
literally.
Uh-huh.
Like I wasn't even skipping frames. I was just like, okay,
Yeah.
frame, for like for a solid. But there's clearly like a marking on his arm, right?
Mhm.
Um, but I don't know. Maybe that's to try and push us off the trail too. Who knows? But yeah, the Morgul blade is just like an evil blade that's made in Mordor, and like, or like there's ones that are made like in I can't remember what the name of the, not Nargothrond, but yeah, basically made by Morgoth, like where
Yeah.
Morgoth is from, right?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that's what I'm like really interested in. I'm actually really interested in the kid. Um,
There's so
and the
many
other
characters I'm
kid,
interested in.
yeah. Like there wasn't anything where I was kind of like rolling my eyes at the character. Now I'm thinking about
Yeah.
it. Like the only character I wasn't like super into was the dude that was with Galadriel in the beginning.
Yeah.
But
He's gone.
yeah, he's definitely gone. Um, really the only thing that I'm feeling a void from, which I'm understanding why he's not there, is Celeborn not being there. Which
Okay.
Celeborn is
Galadriel's husband, right?
Galadriel's husband, right?
Mhm.
And they're supposed to already be married at this point. Like at least like together,
Yeah.
right? Like they travel together. Um
I know
and
Celeborn
so
is a big question, or was a big question leading up to the show, because I know he was brought up a lot in interviews where the cast and like the writers and people wouldn't say anything about him, and people aren't sure if that's because they fucking cut him out of the story and they don't want to like acknowledge it, or if because they
he's
don't
gonna
want
show
to
up
talk
later,
and they
maybe.
don't want to talk about his role in it, and he is
Right.
in it. So I guess we'll have to.
I
But
I love the idea that she could meet Celeborn and that he can kind of be like an anchor
mhm,
for her, but I can
mhm.
understand that they're like, if Celeborn was actually, because okay, the reason Galadriel, this is like in the actual canon, Galadriel stays because she likes the power that she has in Middle Earth. She's in
Okay.
charge.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? When she's in Valinor, she ain't shit,
Yeah.
right? So, and
She's
because of this,
Didn't she say she was a grower? Or was that somebody else? No, that
no,
was Arondir
that
that
was
said that.
Arondir.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, that was Arondir. But well, and I think that would be more of like well, I guess it's like before the war, right? So it would be
Yeah.
before the War of Wrath. But yeah, so she stays because she likes the power that she has, not because she has some oath with Fingon. Like that's
Mhm.
something that is made for the show,
Mhm.
right? Their relationship between Galadriel and Celeborn would feel like a sham if she's having like all these issues and he's just like
Ignore, like he's not around to,
he can't like
support
comfort
her.
her or whatever,
Yeah.
right? Which I get that like that's like a real thing, right? Like you can't force help onto your significant other, right? But it
Mm.
would make it feel a lot worse. Whereas like if
Fingon, says Eggnog.
if I hope that it's not, and I doubt that they would, especially because of like a lot of the press stuff. I
Mm.
doubt that it would be, oh, she meets Celeborn and suddenly everything's okay, right?
Yeah, no, yeah.
That it's like she has some type of closure as well as meeting him. I think that would make it even more powerful as well, right?
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, we'll see. I can understand why he would be cut out if they're having like, Elrond kind of being more of like her support, but her kind of just being her own independent thing as well. I'm fine
Mhm.
with that as well. I get why. Although I think having Celeborn not there is a little weird, but I'm not really somebody who's like, they don't have Celeborn, because like
Mhm.
Celeborn doesn't really do shit, guys. Like, let's
Yeah.
be real. Like, he's a wise guy and all that, but we all know Galadriel wearing the pants, bro. Like, she has the ring of power, not him in
Mhm.
in Lord of the Rings. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. I think the only problem I had, and this isn't even a problem with the episode, it's a problem with the marketing, is, and this is
Hmm.
around about Arondir, is by the end of this episode, I feel like with pretty much every storyline, I have ideas of where they're going. but I don't have super concrete ideas. Arondir, I've got a pretty concrete idea of what's going to
You're
happen
saying
from
with
here.
Galadriel's storyline,
I still
or
with Galadriel and the Harfoots, I feel like I kind of know what's probably going to happen, but like based on what I've seen from the trailers, like I'm not super certain how it's going to happen. I feel like with Arondir, because how much they showed of him in the trailers, and like we leave off with like him finding this city that's or this little village that's been burnt to the ground. I feel like I know
Right.
exactly what's gonna happen. He's gonna hunt down the things that did it. He's gonna find that like fucking troll thing that we saw. He's gonna find the fucking orcs. They're gonna capture it. Like I feel like they showed so much of what's happening with Arondir in the trailers that I have a pretty good idea of how his story is
yeah,
probably
yeah,
gonna play
you get
out.
what the next few episodes are gonna be
Yeah.
for him. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I get what's gonna happen with Galadriel.
I feel like I
Um,
know that like she's gonna end up in Numenor, but I don't know where it's gonna go from there, I guess.
well, I would assume that the idea would then be okay. So she's in Numenor and she's with the queen, right?
Yeah,
And
I
both
like
her and the queen are like, "Yo, shit's going down, dude.
Mhm.
Something's not right." I think that then she's going to go back to the mainland of
Middle Earth, yeah.
and then just meet back up with everybody.
I feel like
Um,
for sure. I feel like I saw so much of Arondir in the trailers that I feel like I have scenes in my head. Like I'm like, okay, that's
You
probably
know,
gonna go there,
yeah,
and that's gonna go
yeah.
there, and that's gonna go.
I think
can
hers
piece
is
it
going to be a lot
together.
more political for a bit.
Yeah, yeah. Whereas with hers,
Um,
I don't have that many scenes in my head from the trailers where I'm like, I know that this is gonna happen, then this is gonna happen, then that, or I feel like I can't piece it together as well as with Arondir.
yeah, I don't know how many episodes is this first season supposed to be?
I think it's 8.
8?
I think it's 8.
Huh. I wonder. I don't think any big wars are going to happen in this first season.
No,
Because,
yeah,
like, I don't want to spoil anything, but shit's supposed to, like, go down, like, massively, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, like,
And I think they've said
I wonder.
5-season plan.
Yeah. We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's supposed to be, like, multiple full-on wars,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Yeah, man, we'll see. I'm excited.
Do
Did
you
you want
want
to
to?
move on to the Harfoot part?
I want
or-
to talk about the Harfoots, dude.
Okay,
Because,
okay.
like I said, fucking mental trauma in the elves, right? Fucking world trauma and just disgusting shit with the Rondir in the Southlands, right?
Mhm,
And
yeah.
then in Rovanian, dude, just like like a palate cleanser with the Harfoots.
Yeah.
Like that first scene, like this also might have been one of my favorite scenes in the episode when the hunters leave and like their entire little village like gets
Yeah.
it's like a pop-up tent, you know,
Yeah,
like it's
yeah.
all fucking unfolding and it looked great. Oh.
Yes. That was the main thing to me where it's like all of these props look so good. How
The
it was
makeup,
shot as well.
They all look
I
so
loved
fucking
it.
filthy. Oh god.
Yes. It
when they're
clearly
eating the
looks
berries,
lived in.
dude.
Yeah.
That was a big
Yeah.
thing. I said when we were watching the episode, because like when people eat in movies and television, like, you know, you're filming actors, you don't want to make them look kind of gross. You know, you don't want to get them all messy.
Well,
But
and you
when
have
they
to
were
take
eating
multiple
those-
takes a lot of
Yeah.
times, and so yeah.
Those fucking Harfoots were
They must have had a lot of
messy, dude.
resets, or they just sent it with like the first take, right?
Yeah,
Like long resets. But yeah,
but it's also a little creepy. There's a little bit of creepy in this.
for sure. Well, and I think that's important, right? And
Yeah.
you don't see a ton in like the movies, but like because like obviously they don't have the scouring of the Shire, which is like basically everybody in the Shire is supposed to be like enslaved, and then when like Merry and Pippin and Frodo and Sam come back, they have to like basically incite a revolution,
Mhm.
but that would make the movie like another hour long, probably. But like that is something that you get a little bit with like the Nazgul like chasing them and stuff, and like the scenes with like Gandalf and everything where it feels like very eerie. You were just at Bilbo's party and now you're talking about the One Ring, and then something just stirred outside. Right?
Yeah.
Like it ends up being Sam, and they have that same
and
type
the room
of thing.
darkens. Like
Yeah. They have a similar thing with like the wolf. Who
Dude.
clearly does not look like a normal wolf. Like
the fucking
what the
visual
hell?
effects, like you could see the little fucking whiskers and like hairs on it. It
Yeah,
looked
it looked
incredible.
good. It looked good, and we've seen those in the trailer actually.
Yeah. I think we're gonna see him next episode. What we're gonna watch after we finish
I think what
recording.
happened in that trailer. Honestly, I feel like everything in those trailers is probably in these first 2 episodes.
Probably.
What I would assume that like we end up seeing a bunch of Numenor stuff in the next episode here.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would have guessed that like 95% of the stuff in the trailers is like it was in the first 2 episodes.
I think you're right. I liked our little Harfoot friend Nori. I thought she was really good. Instantly charming.
I like her. I
really like her. I'm excited to watch more of her. You know, with like younger, she looks younger to me. Younger like actresses or actors or just younger characters, right? They can be annoying, but with her, I was like, all right, I like you. I'm excited to watch you get into shenanigans.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about that. I mean, I really the Harfoot
okay.
was
One
like
one
the
other
least.
thing I want to quick touch on with the Harfoot.
Yeah, for sure.
It's missing in this first episode, but we'll see it next episode.
Okay.
The fact that you don't see, besides like kind of a little bit, the height difference.
Yeah.
They don't 100% feel like Harfoots to me yet, because only Harfoots are around Harfoots, so they just like look normal size. Because like when Frodo's walking around Bag End, he just looks normal.
And then
like,
you see Gandalf, and you're like,
a little bit different because you can see his feet and stuff. But then once Gandalf's in there with him, you're like, okay, this is a freaking hobbit. You know.
Yeah.
So once we see the Meteor Man, next to them, I think that'll be cool.
Dude, I also
really
loved it.
At home.
I loved it when they fucking popped out of the grass.
Yeah,
like they're in the bushes, dude.
The first one's face, you're just like instantly charmed, dude. Like it's just the old man, like, hey,
and he smiles like, oh, it's so
he's
good.
Like, right? Like you instantly get like a mischievous nature about them, right?
Yeah.
And I like that it also keeping in like Hobbit tradition, where it's like, don't stick your nose in anything.
Yeah,
just mind your own business.
For sure. But
like
we got
that.
a little bit of a Bilbo on with us because she's like, she kind of wants some adventure.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. I'm really curious as to like what the Meteor Man, because the very last scene, is that what you're wanting to transition to talking
That's
to?
the last thing I want to talk about is the Meteor Man and all that. Well, the one thing I will say is like this sequence is kind of, it's cut in with Galadriel going towards Valinor, almost going, but then deciding that she's not going to and jumping out. But first of all, that sequence was incredible. With the fucking like world opening up and the glowing, you could just barely see like the shore of Valinor in the distance and the fucking birds flying through. What I think is interesting, and like, it's all cut together really well because I feel like I have no idea what's happening, because it shows like this like entrance to Valinor open up, and then they decide now is when the meteor is going to happen, which like, and this could obviously be a red herring, but when you're doing that in like a movie or a film, or sorry, a movie or TV show, you're trying to imply a connection, right? One thing happens and then you see another important thing happen. You're trying to imply there's something there, whether that's a misdirect or not, I don't know. But then as it flies by and after Gil-galad sees it, like, or no, it's after it lands, and then the leaf falls down and Gil-galad picks it up and he turns it over and it's all corrupted. And again, it's trying to create connections, right? Like it shows the meteor land, and then it shows corruption growing on Middle Earth, which is kind of, might be another misdirect, but it makes me think that Meteor Man ain't a friend. You know what I'm saying? Like that's, I think and you know, again, it could be incredible misdirection, but just watching the show, like this is how the show made me feel. It made me feel there was a connection between Valinor and this meteor, and then a connection between the corruption and the Meteor Man.
Right. Well, okay, so like in literally the line where Gil-galad is like the wind that tries to put out the ember can be the same one that ignites it and makes it spread, right? And it's literal fire.
Yeah.
Well, and the fact that when he's laying down and it's like the zoom out shot, it like
invokes
Eye of Sauron so much to me, right? So we'll see. I think that's it's so weird if Sauron runs into Harfoots first. There's no way. But also, like the only thing I could think of is maybe if they're trying to go with some type of like amnesia angle, right?
Yeah.
Where like he doesn't know that he's pure evil or something. Like, I don't know. The only other thing I could think of is if it is him, because like basically what happens, and I could see them like retconning it a bit, where in the War of Wrath, everyone's defeated, right?
Mm-hmm.
They should know where Sauron is, kind of, because Sauron is captured and taken back to Valinor
Okay.
with Morgoth, right? Actually, no. I'm misremembering. Morgoth is captured, and then Sauron is talking to, I think it's Arome, who's like one of the gods or whatever, right? Or Manwë. He
Mm-hmm.
talks to one of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "Hey, you need to go back to Valinor and repent, right? Like, if you repent, like he says that he's sorry to whoever it is, right? He's like, "Hey, I'm sorry. Could you ever forgive me?" type thing, right? And he's like, "I'm not the one who can give you forgiveness. You need to go back to the Valinor, or back to Valinor, the place, and talk with them, right?" And the idea is that he's like, I will not be like humbled and like shamed so much. He like flees, right? So I think what they could do to retcon it is that he's like being cast back out from Valinor, right? Like if that's why nothing was happening is because he was in Valinor or something,
Mm-hmm.
and then they cast him out. And that like basically drawing a parallel between Sauron not being in Valinor and also Galadriel not being in Valinor, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
that, like basically she feels that something is like in him landing there. Also, she's jumping back at the same time because she's like, I need to stop this darkness or whatever, right?
Yeah.
If it ends up being him, like I said in the episode 0, I would strongly dislike if the Meteor Man is him, because it like completely changes the fact, like he shouldn't know where like the Shire is or like what a hobbit is or like anything like that. Like obviously this is in Romania, not the Shire, but it's like, I don't know. I feel like it's a little bit world breaking in that way. But we'll see. I'm not at the point where I feel like it's like past redemption. Like I'm like gonna be pissed off about it. But right now, if that's what it is, I'm not really liking it. We'll see. The only thing with that scene that I didn't really like is I felt like the scenes with Galadriel are like a little long.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
felt
The one
very,
on the
very
boat.
drawn out. Yeah, on
The
the boat.
pacing that if I were to criticize anything about the episode, it would be that. I think the pacing of the boat
Yeah,
scene was a little
that's like
weird.
the only thing I can really criticize about the episode.
I really quickly, because I think we're about ready to wrap up. I just want to give it a chance for chat. If anybody, because we got a couple people in here right now, if anybody wants to give their quick thoughts on the episode, and we'll read them on the podcast right now. If you are not in chat, if you're listening to this after the fact, we have a Discord server. The link to join the Discord server is in the episode description. And if you guys go there, there's a second breakfast. There's like a Rings of Power second breakfast discussion channels. If you guys, as we're watching the show, if you guys leave your thoughts on the episode, on the next one, we'll talk about it. We might read some of them. I won't promise I will read all of them, but we might read some of them. I don't know if anybody in chat is going to.
It looks like Egg just posted in the Discord actually.
Oh, okay. Oh, here we go. We got some.
But we got some in the chat too.
Let's see. SB Cat says, I could be wrong, but when Elf Guy was talking to other Elf Guy about smithing something, they were talking about the ring. I thought that was cool. Definitely captured my attention. Yeah, we didn't even mention that.
Were they talking about the ring? Yeah, I wonder. Right.
Elrond at the end of the episode goes off with Celebrimbor, and I think they're gonna go to the dwarves, and we're gonna start. I think that's gonna start the ring stuff.
Celebrimbor. So like Lindon, like to give you an idea, like of like a map in your head, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like on the far west is Lindon. And then there's a sea to the west of it, right? Then to the east, there's like a mountain range. Right outside of the mountain range is where Celebrimbor's kingdom is, I guess. It's like Eriador. And or no, it's Aragian. I don't know why I said Eriador. It's Aragian. And or wait, I might be mixing it. Maybe there's so many damn names. Aragian might actually be the name of Rivendell previously. But anyway, basically, he's right next to the dwarves, right? And he ends up having like a good relationship with the dwarves. So I'm wondering if what my hypothesis is that the thing that they're going to make is going to be the doors to Khazad-dûm. That is the speak friend and enter doors. Because there's no way that they're talking about the ring unless Sauron is literally already in there. Because the rings aren't being made until Sauron shows up. Like, it's his ideas to make them. And that, like, could together Celebrimbor and Sauron make them.
I see what you're saying, yeah.
Because, like, in a to talk about, like, the whole mythos, right? There is I can't remember the name of the god, but he's like the smithing god, right? He's the craftsman god. Both Sauron, well, Sauron is a pupil of him, right? He's a Maiar, which is like a lesser god, basically, right? But he follows the main I don't know. It's like hard to explain, right? Like, so there's like capital G god Eru, and then there's the Valar, who are like the lowercase g gods, and then I guess the best next thing down will be like an angel, right? So like Sauron's like an angel who follows the craftsman god, right? And so that's why he knows all these great works and everything. He is the one who gives Celebrimbor the knowledge to make the rings. But Celebrimbor has the skill to make them, right? And so like they make it together. But yeah, Cineville says, I feel like it was fine. It didn't have many complaints, but I also wasn't super invested. That's fair.
Yeah,
I mean, I think you also said you were like playing video games on the side as well. So I don't know if it's maybe partly that, but I can see that because they're kind of setting up a lot of things, right? Like you don't really have a super big attachment. You're not going to immediately go, oh, I know where that is, because it's all new places, right?
Yeah, they also said, I feel the biggest flaw is that having too many characters hurts it because the scenes each character gets aren't strong enough.
Exactly, right? Like they're having to touch on so many different things. I think once you get it where it's like, maybe there'll be episodes where you're mainly really following like two main plots going back and forth. I think you'll be able to have more.
Lexi_42069 said, I think the Meteor Man is a debate and isn't Sauron, TBH, probably someone else. I think that's probably very...
Also, thank you for the follow.
Yeah, thanks for the follow. I think that I think it's probably a debate. I think they definitely signaled really hard that it is, and that's why I think it's not going to be.
Yeah, I could see it. Yeah, I'm hoping that it's that, honestly.
But man, they signaled hard.
I guess we could give some like ideas as to who it could be if it's not.
I think
Sauron,
we kind of talked about that last episode.
Yeah,
I think if you guys
it could be like a blue wizard, maybe.
Yeah, I think if you guys want to hear, because we've already gone for like an hour, if you guys want to hear our thoughts on who could possibly be the Meteor Man.
Who is the Meteor Man?
Yeah, go back, listen to episode 0. I don't think really we've gained any more information this time that would have changed anything that we said last time, to be honest.
We'll see after the next episode if we have more ideas.
Yeah. Egg posted in the Discord, he said, my thoughts on episode 1, shit looks beautiful. Like I can feel the PC wallpapers in every shot. Like I said, I like how all the weird evil shit.
That's gonna be great.
I said I like how all the weird evil shit was really weird and small, and book lady, stitch hype. My Hyper's Mike, Donald Boner, and then he said, Sean, your waifu is trash, owned. So thanks, Egg.
Sorrel says Meteor Man's gonna kill everyone.
I think it might happen.
We'll see.
Me personally, I'm on Twitter, Sean_AFK. Just follow me there, and I do a bunch of shit, and it's all on there. Our cover art was done by Alx. That's at ALX_BEEGBOI on Twitter. There's a link to go to their Twitter page in the episode description. Hopefully, possibly, there's gonna be some music from Fabio the Iguana. If not yet, soon. At some point, TM.
Expect it maybe episode 2 or 3, maybe.
Yeah. And I'm gonna plug at least his personal Twitter account for now, at Fabio the Iguana. You can figure out how to spell it. I'll also have a link in the episode description to yes, there
Fabio
will
says
be.
Yes, there will be. Okay, so look forward to the new theme.
I'm not exactly sure what Fabio wants us to plug.
Don't skip the intro.
But it will be in the episode description, whatever it is he wants us to plug. As for this show, we're on Anchor. Now I have an Anchor link for you guys because I uploaded an episode. Anchor.fm/secondbreakfastsSB. We have a like I said, the Super Spikegetti Bros Discord server, which we have some channels in for this.
Yes, join the Discord. We'll have the discussions in there.
Yeah, and the link is also in the episode description. On Twitter at SpikeGhetti Bros and YouTube.com/Super SpikeGhetti Bros. I think that's all the plugs. So I think we're ready to wrap this out. Do you remember what you said last time?
Quick, Lexi says Skyman is Tom Bombadil.
Dude, it'd be crazy. It'd be crazy. It'd be nuts. I just, for the meme, I want it to be true. For the
I kind of want it to be too. It's like the Amazon the Amazon execs are like, okay, what are the things everyone was pissed off that wasn't in the Lord of the Rings movies? And everyone's like, I want Tom Bombadil. Where is he? And they're like, put him in, but he's gonna be really badass. He's just not gonna be like Tom Bombadil in the books at all. He's gonna start shooting fireballs out of his hands like he's in Dragon Ball Z, dude. Yeah, thank you for listening, and we hope you enjoy your 11Zs, and we will see you next week for Second Breakfast.